Hello and welcome to the arena. We're going to be watching Prismatic Legion versus Hidden Leaf. I'm not naming the entire thing. Maud, do you want to get us started with Hidden Leaf's comp?
So Hidden Leaf has chosen to bring what appears to be kind of a kitey drone comp with a pair of hyenas in the back line. They've all notably warped in at 50, and we see that another team, Prismatic Legion, has warped in a kind of a staggered range. Why don't you walk us through that comp?
Yeah, absolutely. So Prismatic Legion has brought two Lashaks backed by a Scorpion, and then a Magus, two Deacons, Confessor, two Vengeances, and a Punisher. So very heavy on the tackle wing, perhaps trying to make sure that they can lock down the targets that they're trying to shoot, apply their damage effectively, but also keep the Hidden Leaf team off of their Scorpion. Problem being, since Hidden Leaf brought those drone boats, they don't actually need to get close at all, and it's much, much harder to lock them down since they can just run away and apply from anywhere.
Yeah, I was gonna kind of mention before we get started. How do you feel about kind of the situation of having a Scorpion against a almost entire drone team?
It's not what you want to be seeing, and we can see that as the match starts, the Scorpion does begin to burn away a little bit, perhaps trying to put some distance between him and any potential drones coming out. The sentries come out and immediately going onto the Confessor, taking it out, as it probably tried to burn in. So we're seeing that they're trying to headshot the small tackle at the moment to make sure that they can free themselves up before they apply their damage to the Lashaks that are shooting in EOS at this moment in time.
Yeah, we can see that one of the Vengeances has gotten webbed, presumably by those hyenas. But the Vengeance is getting kind of on top of that drone ball. I don't think the tracking will be too great. One of the Punishers, the Death Spec, is kind of in the back line. Hasn't gotten tackle on anything yet. I mean, it would appear to be either the Pontifex or one of the hyenas that's applied webs. But as I say that, Alara is getting absolutely demolished by these sentries, burning away, unfortunately, in a straight line, but now catching reps from Deacons.
I have to admit, I'm not quite sure what the vengeance of Alara is trying to achieve. He wasn't burning towards anything in particular, just straight away from the sentry drones. We see another Punisher go down, I believe, as he's in the middle of the Hidden Leaf team. It looks like one of the vengeances is chasing a Griffin around the arena, but not making any progress. So perhaps it would have been a better use of their time to dedicate those vengeances to locking down these Eoses so that their Lashaks could get on top of them and apply.
Yeah, and another Vengeance we see just gets taken out by these sentry drones. I mean, the hyenas of Marcus and Douche doing really good work here.
Yeah, and I think this is really going to highlight perhaps the question that Ithaca was asking earlier about hyenas and why they're effective in a tournament setting. When you have sentry drones, what you want to be able to do is apply your full damage. So having these long range webbing boats that may even have target painters, haven't quite checked yet, enabling these sentry drones to hit these small frigates means that you can clear them off straight away and you don't have to worry about them later on.
Yeah, kind of as you were alluding to. I mean, what do you use to catch a hyena? I mean, if in this composition, if you're Hidden Leaf, I mean, you have to do it with Vengeances and Confessors. Vengeances are notably very bricky, but even if they were the same speed as a hyena, which they're not, hyenas are very good at kind of webbing those off. Lashaks certainly aren't going to do it, and Lashaks have been applying damage to, I mean, essentially nothing this entire match, being tracking disrupted and being relatively slow. With that said, it would appear that the Ishtar of Murray may be tackled by this Magus of Artsay, but so far it's kind of a masterclass of kiting from this Century drone team.
I just had to check the stream to see if these Lashaks were jammed, and I don't think they are, so I'm quite confused. It doesn't look like they have tackle, as they were on top of Murray in the Ishtar, and he's burned away at 2k a second, putting some distance between him and these Lashaks. And it's, you mentioned TDs earlier. I think that's probably one of the reasons why Lashaks have fallen out of favor, is the fact that they are kind of hard countered by these tracking disruptors that teams can bring on any ship that they're piloting in the arena. And because they're hard capped on range, they don't have that fall off. They can either hit you or they can't shoot at all.
Yeah, we see one of these deacons basically get headshot, and then another deacon falls. And now these Leshaks have no links. The Magus died about 30 seconds ago. This drone team now surgically going after the Scorpion of Alley McPants, and this armor team of Baltram has just had like its paint scratched and not much else. just very surgically picking apart, saying, we're going to go after your frigates that try to tackle us and overextend. Then once they do that, we're going to pick apart your links, we're going to pick apart your logi, and now the Scorpion is taking damage. Boltram taking a little bit of damage, but otherwise, this is going to be a clean sweep.
Yep, very much going the way of a clean sweep at this moment in time. Only one Leshak able to shoot. That would be, what is his name? XVX Teacher, being able to shoot Boltron for a bit there, but the other Leshak is triple TD'd from the looks of things, and won't have a chance of applying any damage to anyone.
And like you were talking about earlier, with Leshaks being a little bit less favored because of tracking disruption, one of the infamous things about these kind of drone kitey teams is that you have a prop mod and maybe capacitor injector, but other than that, and besides some tackle mods, you have a lot of free mid slots in these Ishtars and these Eoses, and we see things like target paints being applied to Teacher, and tracking disruption and missile disruption and a little bit of jams. Really kind of a hard counter to be running into if you're Prismatic Legion.
Yeah, it's for anyone that's not too aware of a Leshak or how it works or operates. They have a special gun, super tidal kind of entropic field thingy-majig beam. And what it does is when you shoot a target, the longer you shoot, the more damage it does over time. So it ramps up. But with the TDs and with the ECM coming off of that Griffin, it's going to be nigh on impossible for these Leshaks to do anything more than the base damage that the gun starts with, because they'll either be losing a lock, or just due to the fact that they're slower and they have no way to pin down their targets, they'll be in and out of range constantly. So they'll never be able to apply their full damage potential.
Yeah, and as Mystical was kind of highlighting, you start at what is somewhere between cruiser to battle cruiser damage, and once you get all the way up, you're just absolutely chunking things. You are by far, once those Leshaks can spool up all the way, the heaviest hitting subcapital in the game. Unfortunately, if you're not ever able to apply that damage, and they really weren't, you never get anywhere. And we can see that's the situation that Asborn Skoldson is now in as he's dropping into the last sliver of his armor here. Really just a technical pick apart of this Prismatic Legion roster by Hidden Leaf.
So we've spoken about, how they've been picked apart and how dire the situation has looked from the very beginning. Do you see any way in which the Prismatic Legion team could have potentially won this match, or at least managed to kill a ship that didn't boundary, looking at the Basilisk here?
They would have had to have been a bit more careful with how they went about tackling things. So Shadow Greaves, unfortunately, in the Confessor, ran across the field and got themselves headshot by sentries rather quickly, and then Alara and Enemy of Entropy, as well as Punisher of Daspec, they got strung apart by these hyenas who were just kind of letting them just kind of get strung along, and then it was over before that really started. If you are Prismatic, how do you apply your tackle wing here?
Yeah, I think what they really should have done is try and pin down these Eoses, or at least some of these Ishtars, and try and take damage off the grid as quickly as possible. They should have been trading their ships for the damage dealers of the Hidden Leaf as much as they could as they were going, but they just didn't do that, and they should have left the Scorpion to deal with the exec. But these are things that you kind of learn. Perhaps it's a case of where you assign your tackle targets in future and how you kind of work into this when you come up against a hard counter. But it's something that they'll probably learn to deal with.
Yeah, and congratulations to Hidden Leaf Village Ninja Assassin Squad for taking this 100-0. And with that, we'll send that back to the studio to break this one down.